What's going on, world? Trevor Topping here with Game 7 Mindset, sports channel out of the 757. Hope you're doing well. Today is June 14th. We've got the Bucks Nets, which has now gotten really interesting. We've got Sixers Hawks tonight, Clippers Jazz. Want to talk through the playoffs. We've got the U.S. Open this week. Football, basketball, and golf, favorite three sports. Have always envisioned and loved picking players and athletes. Admire their work ethic, high IQ players, especially in basketball, two-way players. So I kind of go through a couple keys as to what we look for as we analyze and break down play and look to kind of forecast as the playoffs go on and who we're picking. So run through kind of what we look for, who we think is playing the best, as far as who has the most support and whose stars are playing the best. And let's get right into it. So Nets have Kyrie go down, Harden's out. We've got now Blake Griffin, Jeff Green, and Joe Harris to go alongside Kevin Durant. They're playing Chris Middleton, Giannis, two All-Stars, Drew Holiday, a true point guard and two-way player, Brook Lopez, PJ Tucker, Pat McConnell, and Brian Forbes is a great shooter. DiVincenzo is out, but they've got about 8 deep. And the the Nets got about 4 deep. So that is if Jeff Green is even healthy. He did not look healthy yesterday. So we are going to look to take the Bucks actually now. In 6 or 7, whatever it might be. Kevin Durant will have to play the best of his career. He's probably going to look to ISO too much and not trusting his teammates who have honestly struggled in the last 2 games to knock down wide open jumpers, as Kyrie and Kevin Durant have had most of the attention on them. So unfortunately, Nick Wright and company are going to talk about how Kevin Durant now has the same amount of help as everyone else. When you look at this Bucks team now against the Nets, who are healthy and actually playing, it is not even close. It's not even close. There's a mismatch in 4 out of the 5 positions on the court. Kevin Durant is literally the only player who can defensively guard who he's guarding. Everyone else on the Bucks can get a bucket at any point in time on who's guarding them. Joe Harris plays pretty good defense, tries very hard, great role player, great shooter. Probably the best UVA player alongside Brogdon that I've seen come out of UVA. Love him as a good 4th option. Again, you don't have your 2 studs that you threw away depth to get in Kyrie and James Harden. Now this team looks pretty bad. Probably the worst team in the playoffs. I don't know that they could beat the Hawks with this team that they have. As much as I love Kevin Durant, I'm just not sure if you haven't game planned all year to have this type of role and being the only guy. If you can just jump in that role, especially against a defensive team like the Bucks, who's physical, has height, and has a guy like PJ Tucker. Kind of reminds me of like how Tony Allen got into KD when it was the Big Four for the Grizzlies versus Serge Ibaka and Kevin Durant after Russ got hurt against the Rockets in 2015, where you're asking a guy to kind of just ISO and put the team on his back. If he's able to do it, it'll be probably some of the coolest performance and play that we've ever seen. Again, maybe take his over and ride the Bucks. They're minus 134 right now. That looks pretty good to me for Game 5. So want to go through power rankings. Best teams right now. Suns, best team in the NBA in my opinion right now. Healthy, chemistry, have shooting, high IQ players. They have some two-way players, and they have a stud and Devin Booker and Chris Paul that can lead you to a win. And again, they're both going to knock down free throws late. There's not a ton of flaw in either one of their games right now. So you've got the Suns at the number 1 seed. 2, 3, and 4, you've got Clippers, 76ers, and Bucks. You've got Giannis, Embid, and Kawhi. I'm going to take Kawhi and Embiid there. Giannis just cannot shoot. You've got to be able to shoot, in my opinion, to win an NBA championship. His free throws, his 3-point percentage is 13%. It's honestly hard to watch. Then you've got Middleton, who's started to heat up again, who's a shooter. Holiday can shoot, true point guard, two-way player. 76ers and Ben Simmons, I really don't know how he hasn't developed his shot yet, but he can't shoot. But Tobias Harris is playing about as well as he has for the Sixers now and is a good shooter. And with their others, we'll have to see, who steps up for the 76ers or Bucks as a role player. The Clippers, again, have Paul George. You really don't know what you're going to get with Paul George at this point in time. I used to love PG. He's definitely a two-way player, but certainly spotty on offense, and just his turnovers and style of play, I don't even understand. And then you've got Reggie Jackson, and again, some older veterans who's going to step up there. The Jazz are the deepest team. They have the best supporting cast as far as just pure depth. Donovan Mitchell is playing top 5 best in the NBA right now. But I do not see them being able to, if they get past the Clippers, get past the Suns. And I honestly think Kawhi is just the best player in that series, and their physicalness and just talent level, I think, is going to trump the chemistry of the Jazz. I hope I'm wrong there, because I love team chemistry. I love what the Jazz stand for. Would love to root for the Jazz in that series. Donovan Mitchell's really shown to develop and work on his game, as him and Simmons were in that Rookie of the Year debate years back. One player's really, I feel like, continue to grow. The other players kind of just been stagnant and relied on his athleticism and just hadn't developed his offensive game at all. Great defensive player in Ben Simmons. Good point guard, great passing, but you got to be able to shoot again in the postseason. So anyway, Hawks probably going to be the 6th seed now. I don't know that Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Jeff Green, again, Jeff and Blake potentially aren't 100%. And Joe Harris are going to beat the Hawks that, again, have Capella, Lou Williams, that Kevin Huerter, Gallinari, John Collins, Bogdanovich, Trae Young. It'd be a good series. Again, Trae Young and the Hawks are not as consistent as they probably need to be to kind of get that next level. That's why I've got the Sixers beating them in the series. You go ahead and pick the games. Not going to be able to tell you which game they're going to win or lose, but I've got Sixers in the series, as we got that game tonight at 7:30. It's close to a pick 'em. The Hawks would certainly split at home, but I've got the Sixers to beat them. Again, give me Embiid, Simmons, and Tobias Harris over Trae Young, Bogdanovich, and John Collins, although a great young core there in Atlanta. Clippers, Jazz, you've got Kawhi, Paul George, Reggie Jackson versus like Donovan Mitchell, Jordan Clarkson, and then maybe Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles. I mean, you've got some nice depth on the Jazz team. I'm just, again, going to roll with Kawhi Leonard from what I've seen in the past. D. Mitch is close. And if he is able to beat the Clippers, he's going to elevate himself up into that superstar conversation. And again, maybe being a top 10 player in the NBA. He's certainly playing like a probably top 5 player right now. I've got KD, Kawhi, CP3, the Joker, Embiid, Dame, Luka, Tatum, kind of right there, 4 through 8 with Giannis, Booker, Mitchell, Trae Young, Tobias Harris. Just all that's kind of the top 13. Really hard to rank them. Again, I just think it's clear you want KD, Kawhi, or CP3 right now leading your team. And Kevin Durant's going to have an opportunity to show that. But Kawhi's got Paul George, Chris Paul's got Devin Booker, and KD's got Joe Harris. So you tell me who has kind of the right man guy. And again, LeBron did beat the Pistons, which was pretty impressive back in the day. But, it really took him going to the Heat. KD, having Russ was able to beat people, but Russ honestly looks to potentially maybe have hindered Kevin Durant's development as Russ and Bradley Beal and whatever all-star he's been paired with since Kevin Durant haven't made out of the first round. Heck, they barely get a game in the first round. So when you look at chemistry and who has the best supporting cast, and then kind of who has the best duo or trio of the star players, the Suns are playing the best. Then you've got the Bucks, Sixers, and Clippers. I would all kind of put in the 2 through 4 seed there. We'll just have to continue to see who steps up. I would trust, again, Kawhi first, Embiid second, Giannis fourth there. Donovan Mitchell is right on the scene now, and the Jazz are at 5, and then you've got the Nets and Hawks at 6 and 7. So anyway, got the U.S. Open this week. Very excited to pick some players. We'll have an episode for you tomorrow for the U.S. Open. for the gamblers out there. Again, you never know who's going to come off the bench and drop 30 in a given night. The Sixers and the Clippers are, in my opinion, the two better teams. And again, I'm just going to roll with the star and Kawhi and his team, despite their chemistry issues and the Jazz having better chemistry. So good luck in your bets this evening. Again, want to continue to break down what we see. We'll get into more, Kevin Durant, what he does here. He's in a huge role to be able to prove his worth and legacy. Everyone's going to grade him very strictly, so we'll continue to grade very strictly as well. We'll look to break down footage of him and other players, and again, setting expectations in what you break down. We try and be fair, judge everyone under the same lens. We think a lot of analysts and people have some bias there, and everyone knows I'm a Kevin Durant fan that knows me. Have a lot of group conversation with sports, and that's why we're doing this. So excited to grow with you guys. Talk through, again, players. No LeBron or AD in the playoffs. Again, I've been a LeBron critic. I just don't get how you're 6'8" and flop. But obviously one of the best players of all time. He's been incredibly durable. Wasn't the same player after the ankle injury. No AD. That team wasn't built to win the playoffs. And again, this Nets team was built for Harden, KD, Kyrie to carry them, and have Joe Harris as a fourth option, which is a heck of a shooting option as a fourth option. And then, whoever, Jeff Green, Blake Griffin, Claxton, throw in there at the fifth position. Now all of a sudden you don't have either of your other scoring options outside of Kevin Durant and Kyrie and Harden. And now this team just isn't built for the postseason and making it deep. And again, unless KD can do something legendary. But this supporting cast is probably worse than the Cavaliers supporting cast that Bron had. I mean, no Mo Williams or Big Z here. This is Joe Harris and I guess Blake Griffin as the big 2 and 3 options there. So look forward to breaking it down with you guys. Excited to see what the Suns and CP3 do. The guy probably deserves a ring. That is my favorite. And look forward to watching the games continue to grow with you guys, breaking down footage. And football is not far. Fantasy football is not far. Getting excited, and look forward to growing with you all and talking through what we see. Y'all have a great day.